Hi. Hi, chat. There he is. Where's Rua? Hi, chat. Hi. How are you guys? How you doing? Hello, Sari. Always looking after us. Hello, Mayume. I hope you're doing very well. It's nice to see all of you. You guys made it. Congrats. It's the end of the week, which for most people means that the weekend has begun and they can relax a little. There's probably work to be done. There's work, chores, house chores to be done. But, you know, maybe you'll get to relax a little soon. At the very least, you won't have to go to work. But I do know some people who work on the weekends, unfortunately for them. Hello, Sochi. As I see you. As I see you. This, I must confess. This is not the first time today that I have been on a stream. Now, before you guys think that I, like, cheated on you, that I like cheated on you guys and had like a separate like quiet collab that I never announced. Not really. I was on Fua's stream for like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, explaining about like the gym and working out. I'm okay, and you? I'm good, Sochi. I'm good, thank you. My neck is a little bit at me this week, the last few days. If I may, Sochi, I'd actually rather not. My neck and shoulders are at me the last 2 days, and it's actually kind of sore. I could really feel it in the gym today. I was kind of doing a bit of work. Thankfully, it's not as bad as it was, but I feel like if I put pressure on it that way, it wouldn't be great. I should start adding like other exercises like squat. I know Haru said this before that I should add squats instead of just push-ups and stuff. Maybe I should. The betrayal, your poor heart. How could you? Thank you, Sochi. Thank you. But yeah, I joined Fu's stream for like I joined and Fu was talking about the gym. And I was trying to explain, like, kind of the basic concept for a beginner gym goer. And it was too much. Like, so many questions were being thrown out. And, like, things that I would want to talk about. I was just like, Fua, I can join for, like, 10 minutes and then I'll leave. And he was like, okay. And I did just that. I joined. I exposed him by pointing out how when he bought a yearly membership to go swimming, I had to set an alarm daily to try and get him to go, and he ended up going a year membership, and he went like 3 or 4 times. Push up karaoke request. What does push up song? What's I don't know what push-up is. That's not what I assume it is. Let me see if I can find something. Freestylers. This has 1.9 million views. Freestylers push-up lyrics. Oddly enough, and I have no idea why, but it's easier for me to do a squat than it is to stand up from a chair. Huh. That is weird. Oh god, this is a very fast song. That lady is pretty. Very exposed, though. This is a YouTube video, so don't... And the moves you made were working up the place. That's your favorite song came on, the one you love. Then you looked me in the eyes and said push up. You had your hands all over my body tonight. I don't care. Okay, I don't know how this song goes at all. I have never heard this song in my life. I can't do this. I don't know. I think I saw your body before I saw your face. The kind of moves you made were working up the place. Then your favorite song came on, the one you said you loved. You came over to me, looked me in the eyes and said push up. You had your hands all over my body tonight. You didn't care about respectability. People staring 'cause you really made a scene. It must have looked like we were doing it for real, you said. Where I don't... I closed the tab and now I was just doing it a cappella. Hello, Femboy Milker. It's nice to see you again. How are you doing? Have you... I hope you've been able to live up to your namesake recently. That's... I'm sure it's an enjoyable namesake. Only enough, I have no idea why it's easy. I don't... That is odd. Might be whatever way... I don't know. Wherever your muscle strength is. I think the one thing... Because I do it whenever I'm doing squats. I know this is meant to be ASMR, but this is our just chatting section first. Whenever I'm doing squats, I always was able to go right down. I had decent ankle flexibility, and I was able to go right down from my... So that the back of my leg, basically, my hamstring touches the calf. Otherwise known as ass to grass squats. They're the full range of motion. And there are times when I see people in the gym and they're not even doing like a quarter. They're doing like a quarter rep. Not even a half rep. A half rep isn't like going down. If your legs, if your thighs are parallel to the floor, that is a full squat. That is a good, solid squat. If you go down and like your legs are like still at like 45 degrees and then you stand up again, it's like, that's not a squat, man. Come on. Now, obviously, there are people who might not only maybe be able to get down that far, but if you're like a perfectly healthy person and I see you loading on a load of weight onto the barbell and you're doing that, I will shake my head. I will shake my head and go tut tut and then walk away and not say anything because I could not be arsed. It's not my place to stop you from ego lifting. Yes, good man, you did. Thank you for asking, kind man. You're welcome. You're welcome. That's good for you. That's good for you. That's very nice for you. Next stream will be 35. Let's go, Mayume. I do like this new streak thing, this new watch streak thing. But imagine if you were like a really popular streamer. You had like, 5,000, 10,000 viewers. And like half your chat is just filled up with people leaving or joining and like instantly showing what their stream streak is. Like it just takes up, like people are constantly pressing the button to show it, and it just shows like the notification constantly, and no one can talk about anything else. That's one of the things on YouTube Shorts that like shocks me. You saw someone with a 100 stream streak once. I think Mike and Haru are quite up there for me. Excuse me. Obviously, the more a streamer streams as well, the quicker it'll go up. If they're streaming 3 times a week like me, sometimes 4, sometimes 2. Actually, no, because the stream on Regulus's channel doesn't count. 2 or 3 times a week, that's going to be a slow growth. If you're streaming 5 times a week and you're able to get 5 watch streaks a week, that adds up pretty quickly. Like even if you did 5 streams a week, and let's say you managed to be very consistent about that and do it for like 50 weeks, that would be like a 250 in a year. That'd be pretty good going. Yeah, you'd have to be very careful though, because like if they never had their VODs enabled or anything like that, you'd have to jump through a lot of hoops. But sorry, yeah, I was scrolling through YouTube Shorts, as I often do. I often get stuck looking at them. Goddamn ADHD, not actually ADHD. Goddamn fucking algorithm infecting my brain. Possibly ADHD. I don't think so though. And when I say things like that, I'm like, I don't want to get tested in any way. I'm me. I don't need to be labeled. Oh, you're slightly autistic. Well, yeah, obviously, I'm into paradox games. What are you talking about? But no, YouTube Shorts were YouTube live streams are so weird. It's such a different place. Or YouTube short live streams. It's such a different place to regular streaming. Do you want to know what was like a really popular stream for like a while that kept coming up on my whenever I'd swipe down and I end up getting stuck in the live stream section? It was like an ASMR type thing. Now, I'm not going to lie, it was actually quite nice. The original had some nice sounds because it was just constant clipping and like using a nail file or nail clippers or something. Oh no, I think it was a tiny scissors. But it was a guy cutting an egg. It was a guy cutting the shell of an egg. Slowly, very slowly, mind you, over the course of hours. And he would do this every single day. Now, and I only thought about this one because I saw like 3 or 4 copycats recently. That was literally the exact same thing, but just like it looked different. So it was in different places. All in the same span of like 20 minutes scrolling. It was like, okay, clearly they're all trying to get on the bandwagon too. Then there's like the I don't know what to call it. The brain rot streams. The brain rot streams are like they'll always have something where it's like type noob in chat equal ban or something like that. And it's like they're playing like a game, they're screaming just constantly. Or it'll be like a thing that's auto playing. And it's just like the type of game, like it's like a Roblox game that's like super loud and obnoxious. And for some reason this gets like hundreds of viewers. Obviously the reason is because children are probably on YouTube just scrolling and they see loud thing and they think, ooh, good. And they watch the loud, colorful thing. It's like those old YouTube videos, those ASMR videos where like, not ASMR, but also like nursery rhyme song, and it's like a redone version of any random nursery song, but with like shitty animation. It's all like AI or not even AI. It was just like this weird. It was always like 5 colors, learn numbers, and then it was like really weird animation. Hello, legend. It's nice to see you. How are you? How are you doing? Sorry, I'm just talking about like YouTube live streaming. It's a weird place. I do want to like try and figure out how to set up a YouTube live stream on like the short system through OBS, because I'm pretty sure there's a way I can do it. I have like the system in place to do it, I'm pretty sure. So I gotta try. I gotta try at least. You're very tired? Oh, well, it is the end of the week. I hope you get to rest soon, legend. I'm somewhat tired myself. But I'm doing okay actually. Things finished up for me in a couple ways, so I'm not as busy as I was. I think no, don't pinch me. Don't pinch me, Haru. You're so mean to me. Thankfully, like my like busy time is mostly over. I'll probably still be like a little bit busy here and there for next while, but that's just life. But like my really busy period is dunzo. Thank fuck. I needed it. Was good, Twinkerbell. What would that even mean? I'm not gonna answer what's good because that would suggest I'm Twinkerbell and I'm clearly not. I don't know if you saw another a Tinkerbell twink or something, but you know, Haru, you missed it, and Legend, I suppose you missed it as well. But I mentioned it in the Discord. But like a little bit ago, I was on Fua's stream. I joined his chat as I sometimes do before stream because he'll usually start stream like an hour and a half before me or something. An hour or 2 hours before me, and I like join for a little bit, and it kind of relaxes me before stream. And I joined, and he was like, "Rua, I have a question for." I was about to do like a really German accent. I was about to be Rua. Wait, no, Rua, we have a question for you. Yeah, I need you to tell me. I need you to tell me about Jim. Yes, the Jim. The Jim, I need you to tell me about the Jim. That's not even his accent. He's not really like, yeah, there's a bit of German there, but I don't know what I'd call his accent actually. Your BFFFFFBFBFBBB. Shush you. But no, he did ask me about like the gym and about because he was like, I was thinking of going like, you know, it's he's starting a new job. He's starting a new job, and he was like, maybe this will be a new arc for Fui. He'll go to the gym too. I highly doubt it. But if he did, I'd support him 100%. Did you send a copy paste wall of text for lifting? No, I didn't. I was trying to answer his questions in chat, but it was like it's too much to explain. Even like I was explaining like a basic gym routine, which I would recommend for a beginner, would be a full body exercise, probably 3 times a week with an A/B alternating. I know I wanted to. Instead of what I said to him after like 4 or 5 messages, I was like, look, let me just join. Ooh, a job. Like it's a slur, Haru. A job. I wish I had Ace P. Caswell's thing right now that could censor him. I'd be like, and I'd like have a beep. I was like, I can just join, and I did. I joined. We went on a voice call real quick. I said hi to chat. I called him out for buying a 6-month membership to a swimming place and going like 4 times, and how I had to like push him to go once. Please, it's a traumatizing word. I understand. I know too well, Haru. I understand. But yeah, I was on Fua's stream for a little bit, just talking. I was only like 15 minutes. Don't worry, I wasn't like cheating on you guys. I wasn't like this wasn't a stealth collab where I was like, I don't want weirdos, my weirdos from chat coming over to Fua's chat and like taking up the place. And like being weird over there, cheating on us and not telling. Would you rather I tell you guys? Would you rather I tell you? Are you into that? Are you what did I call it? A cuck queen? Yeah, so we can come and jump you. Wait a minute. Has any male VTuber ever gone for that kind of audience? Wait a minute. Has anyone ever gone for like that type of feeling in a stream? Like, yeah, I know like one time Vox was doing ASMR and one of the girlies popped into chat, and like his, what are his chat called again? His voxums, his little voxums, got very, very angry about it and called her many mean words. In the same way, Hololive unicorns get very angry about it. Wait, no, what was it again? Let me see if I can. I can't remember what it was, but I think Vox was doing like just like Vox was doing a ASMR thing, and his ASMRs are um intriguing to say the least. Let's say you would never get me doing the type of ASMR he does. I wouldn't be able to do it. I take like 5 minutes to say two words. You guys know what those words are. Um, they alternate. He is a stronger man than I when it comes to being a whore on the internet. And I feel like I'm not saying that welcome in does take 5 minutes. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. BFE is like one of the staples of a male VTuber. It's I just don't think I could do it. Ua BFE when I don't think I could. I just feel weird. I can do it in short bursts. I can do it in short bursts, but I can never like. I don't think I could do it like Vox. I don't have like his deep voice. You know, one of my tags on Twitch is deep voice. Do I even deserve that? Do I deserve deep voice? I feel like I can go deep, but I feel like when I go deep, it sounds very fake. It sounds like I'm doing a Joe Swanson impression. Hey, Peter. Hey, guys. It's me, Ruadh. Doesn't go deep enough. Oh my god. See, this is why I couldn't do Vox. If I did half of what Vox did and the chat was like saying, let's say, horrendous things, we'll just leave it at that. I'd be sitting there like, I feel uncomfortable. I need an adult. I'd be calling HR on them. I'd be calling HR on my own fans. And I'd make my fans sit through like a HR meeting with me. That's what my stream would be. I'd finally do the BFE. I'd feel uncomfortable, and then I'd be like, okay, guys, and I'd have another VTuber come in and pretend to be HR. Thank you for the head pat, legend. Girl would need a therapy session. Plot twist: I'm the therapist. I feel like is that a fantasy? The therapist being like a hot guy. Yeah, I'm a hot guy, definitely. HR wants to hear the joke you told your streamer ASMR. So do we? the HR person is like, we can pull up the chat logs if you want. I don't think you were just teasing him. No, he felt uncomfortable. You asked him to, and I quote, "Shove it down my throat, daddy. Make me choke on it." You said this on a live stream in public on the 4th of September 2024. How do you think that made the other VTuber feel? That sounds like something I'd say. Yeah. And it says your first message from a few weeks ago was, "Wow, you look juicy. Can you explain this?" What did you mean when you threatened physical violence to eat him? just eat him, yeah. I think that would be so funny. Like, actually, the concept of that. Like. No, Haru. Haru, bold. Oh, dude, that would be really funny. Having like a BFE streamer. Like a BFE streamer. Do that. Like getting really into BFE, building that type of audience. And then just like you could do it like on an April Fool so they don't feel bad. You don't want to like anger your audience and make them feel bad about themselves. You do like an April Fool's HR meeting. Hello, currently crafting. Ooh, sounds cool. I hope your crafting is going well. I feel like this is why I wouldn't. I feel like this is why I wouldn't fit in a corpo. I say as if I've applied to like one corpo, and that was more just to experience applying, so I could say I did it. I need someone to do that actually. Okay, I'll go join Niji Sanji, or like Hollow Stars, and I'll be the most BFE streamer you've ever seen, Haru. And then I'll do it. What if how would you guys react if I joined like a corpo, okay? And I like was completely different. Like personality, my jokes, everything about me was like, oh wow, Ruadh was just acting this whole time. Ruadh was just acting. Crafting is going great. You're making snakes from beads. Oh, that's so cool. Do share if you want. If you have some cool snakes to show. Dear God, Ua dyed his hair and left us. Sorry, a part of my headphones came off, like this little, the wheel that can control how, like the volume on the headphone, which I can still do. I can just press my finger into it and it still turns. But like the nicer looking wheel part of it came off, and there was like this sticky substance, and now I've peeled it off and it's kind of like sticky on my fingers. I'm gonna put that back there. I'll mess around with that later. I low-key wouldn't watch you because I'm not interested in corpo VTuber. That's so mean. That's so mean. I do understand. I know a lot of people aren't into. A lot of people like indie VTubers because of the intimacy of just indirectly being able to interact with a streamer, having them read your comments and stuff. Now I will say when your corpo Oshi reads your comment unprovoked, it feels amazing. I remember I have this weird idea in my mind that I set in motion. I don't know if he was always planning this. I'm not going to explain it because it could potentially give away a past account, let's say. I think it would be incredible if someone found that, but I don't think any of you are that, like, you know, insane to do it. But still, OPSEC is important. What was I? Yeah, that I set in motion like a project that they did in Minecraft that like became a kind of big thing, not like a massive thing, but like a lot of people joined after it was finished to see it, and like, you know, it was a little cool thing. I feel like I may have set it in motion, but I don't know if he was talking about it beforehand. Shared it in Gen Media. I will look at it after stream. I bet it's cool. I love indies because small community lowers chances of drama. Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want drama, Haru? Are you sure? I could get what if I like got a Google Docy dropped on me? Oh, look at the snakes. They're very pretty. If you guys want to see the snakes, go join the Discord with Command Discord. Root for the underdog until they get big, then call them Stinky and get out of there. Low but never zero. I just want to watch, not get involved. I saw something a while back. It was like, I don't know. It was some I can't even remember who it was. But someone got a Google Docy dropped, and they were like, "This person is a terrible person," yada yada. And like one of the descriptions they used to describe them was like a master manipulator. And all I could think to myself was, man, I really hope if I ever get a Google Docy dropped on me, they'll like give me some cool descriptors. Like, okay, they'll call me a terrible person. Like Ruadh tried to sacrifice my dog. He's a dangerous rogue, bad boy, master manipulator, devilishly handsome. I don't know. I don't know why they'd say that, but they do. And my Google Docy, it may be the end of my career. Bottom twin snail killer. Ruadh will drop my Google Docy this summer. Just you watch. Thank you, Apop. That's very kind of you. And nice to see you, Apop. Ruadh holds negative opinions of the British and does not recognize the UK. I never said I don't recognize the UK. No. I know a lot of like English people, Scottish people, Welsh. Not a lot of Welsh actually, but the Welsh people I've met have been very nice. I generally have good opinions. I made so many bee creatures and so many YouTube videos went into those creations. Oh, that's what I like about YouTube. You can learn things. Thank you for the head pat, A-pop. I just remember this is meant to be ASMR. Sorry, everyone who's joining, being like, "Oh man, I hope I get to enjoy the nice calming sound of Rua's chatting and soft speaking and reading ASMR," and I'm just being very loud. You just noticed the snail. Yeah, they're over there. They're chomping on that tree. They're eating the tree. Bro's just cackling and hollering. I do a little hollering sometimes. Holla at a boy. Isn't that a word? Yeah, holla at your boy. Hoo hoo hee hee ha ha. Hoo hoo yeah. I'm pretty sure I've laughed like that once or twice. I went like, hoo yeah. My face hurts from streaming sometimes. Hurts from like laughing during streaming or smiling. But that's like a good thing though. That's like a good thing. And then I finish stream and my face drops. And I have no humor about myself. I'm just like this all the time. I get like really serious and glum and tired. Okay. Like not from a don't poke me. The fuck? Get off of me. Bitch. uh keep the poke train going. No. No ho. Yeah ho. What was I saying? I forget though. I forgot though. I got distracted by Hawu calling me a hoe. How could she do this to me? This is meant to be a reading stream, by the way. No, you know, we're still in like, I still have like another 10 minutes of buffer before I can say that the stream's been derailed. That's okay. That's okay. You know what? I'm going to... No. Oh, I spilled Coke. Oh, no. I spilled like a few drops of Coke on me. Oh, that's going to be sticky. Yeah. Fights. Pajama pants. It's okay. Well, like at this stage, for this stream, apparently kayfabe's out the fucking window. Hey, it's an hour just yapping before reading. I tend for reading streams, I tend to try and make it at least like 45 minutes, like 30 to 45 minutes, because if it's like an hour reading takes a lot of time when you're, bro, you're gonna get ants on you. I'll wash it. It's not like I spill a drop of something sugary and like 2 minutes later I'm being devoured by ants. That would be a very scary world to live in, Haru. Oh god, little Jimmy dropped his ice cream cone. The park's destroyed. Get away from there. Jimmy's skeleton, stripped bare from the ants, will be found later. Suddenly, like anything sugary is being treated like it's radiation. Okay, someone's got to go to the little warrior's room. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, BB. Hi. Hi. I'm Ruadh. It's nice to meet you. I know the top of my head might look really old, like an adult, but I'm Shatua. Shatua. No, don't shoot me. I'm not Shatua. Shotawa. Girl, wait, let's see how high my voice can go. My voice is a little free today, so we can go a little bit high. I'm giving like a little giggle. Ah. No, don't put me in the fucking sandwich. I'm like giving you Shota Ua and you put me in the sandwich. Why? I should never do anything for you guys. Ruadh does BFE, sandwich. Ruadh becomes Shota, sandwich. Ruadh becomes a girl, sandwich. Ruadh makes an OnlyFans. Oh, you bet he's getting put in the sandwich. I need old hunk. You made him only ankles. Oh, making only ankles. I thought I read that as I want an old hunk ru'ua made of only ankles. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, OnlyFans just for ankles. Listen, I could see that how that does well. Maybe they have really good ankles. You're always dying, Haru. You're never not dying. What would I do on my OnlyFans? I think what I do on my OnlyFans is I would... It's Bernadette Banner, I see. I would post audio of book excerpts from my more controversial books that I own. Yeah, that's what I would do. That would be my OnlyFans. I'd read spicy Skyrim novels from there. I'd read spicy fan fiction. Yeah. I'd read The Lemons. I think you would just post snail dying noises. Am I just sitting, Haru? I'm just picturing this. Am I just sitting at my Treadio, just like breaking celery sticks or something? Is that like what my entire career would be? What do you do for a living, Ruadh? I break celery sticks. They make a nice crunch noise. Really reminds me of snails. Little bastards. Little snails. Oh, I feel so bad. I like actually seeing them makes me. I need to set up the redeem. I need to figure out how to do it. I'm gonna message Haru. I'm gonna message Haru after stream and be like, Haru, help me. Where's the fourth snail? Are you fucking blind, mate? Are you blind? There's one on the rock. There's one on the tree. Bark. There's one on the lower branches and there's one on the middle branches. Where, bitch? Open your eyes. It's right there. It's right there. How can't you see it? How can't you see the snail? Come on. Come closer. Look over there. On the rock. On the branch. On the trunk. On the lower branches. And on the middle branches of the tree. Over there. I literally cannot see. Have you tried opening your eyes? There's a thing called looking. No, Haru, I will guide you. I will guide you. And you know what? I don't know what accent that exactly was. It was kind of like English to Australian. I will guide you. Look at this. See this arrow here? This arrow, it's used to point at things so you can see them. We have the bright snail, easily seen. We have the snail on the trunk of the tree. We have the starry snail on the tree. And then we have the other snail with the wings up here. If anything, this is like Connect 4. Haru, can we play Connect 4? I think I could like... Can we play Connect 4? I somehow feel like I could cheat playing against you. They're in like a perfect line. Every time Haru makes a Connect 4, it's just like, did I win? It's like, is there 4? I can't see. I'm making you pregnant, I swear to God. Try it. I'm actually jumping. He blends into the background. He does a little, that's fair. He does a little, but he also has a halo and white wings, so... Well, I guess the white kind of looks like the snow, so that's fair. You could probably do a 3 in a row real real easy. Yeah. Oh, I win 4 in a row and there's just 2 in a row and I just pull the thing that makes them all fall. Like, okay, I won. Too bad. You just didn't look quick enough. I just changed my screen protector. Your ass is cooked. Oh no. Uh-oh. The back of my phone doesn't look great, but the front is not bad. After I got it repaired. Hi, Teal. It's nice to see you. Thank you for the head pat. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. What happened to your phone? Oh, this was not ages ago, but like what, a month and a half ago? I dropped it. And it hit the one fucking place of the footpath where it would break. It was on those footpaths. I don't know if you guys would have them. But you know where they have like little raised bumps? Obviously, it's probably for people who are visually impaired. Like those raised bumps. I dropped my phone, like moving it from one hand to the other because I was getting something. I think it was my jacket or something. And Braille. I guess the Braille of the road. I don't think it's Braille. I think it's like just where a footpath ends and like you cross a road. But yeah, I dropped it. It landed right on one of the raised bumps. So it was just like concentrated. You don't reach down to feel the road as you drive. These are on the footpaths, legend. Get off don't drive on the footpaths. I know America doesn't have like walkable cities, but that doesn't mean you can drive on the footpaths. My infrastructure wasn't built for people to be able to walk and not own a car. Puts his fucking massive truck up onto the curb. These civilians should have thought more about walking in an American city. What the hell is a footpath? Is that a smaller highway? Yes, that's what it is. You need to the Chad truck driver versus the virgin pedestrian. Man, I hate cyclists. I know that came out of nowhere, but I'm not even someone who like, you know, hates cyclists for driving. And I don't really hate cyclists. I have a few friends who cycle, and it's definitely a very good way to get around. Like, if it's properly designed, it's a fantastic way to get around cities. But I think the thing that annoys me is how many treat themselves simultaneously like a car and like a pedestrian. They are obviously different. They are between, but the fucking pedestrian has right of way, buddy. You have to yield to pedestrians. Will not enter the afterlife. Obviously, I'm not saying, if the light's green and a pedestrian walks in front of you, it's like you should like. I would say the pedestrian should not be fucking stupid. But the amount of times I've seen it where like there'll be a bicycle lane next to the car lane, the cars will be driving, the light will go red, and I'll go to start walking because the cars have stopped and everyone's going the same way, so everyone going that way has stopped. And now I'm walking across the road. Guess who whizzes past me? Fucking inches from me, a cyclist. There's been times when I've I want to shoulder you off the fucking bike. What are you doing? Slow down. At the very fucking least, stop. Pick and choose which laws of the road they follow depending on convenience. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. And the thing is I'm all for bicycle lanes and safe cycling. Because again, it is a general, but there are some cyclists who are just fucking annoying. I've almost been hit a few times. I remember the same thing happened actually. I remember I was with a big group of people, and the same fucking thing happened. There was a bicycle lane, there was a footpath, a bicycle lane that was quite separated from the actual cars. There was no chance of the cars coming onto the road because there was a big thick footpath between them onto the bicycle lane. So it was a fairly free lane. There was a zebra crossing on the bike lane and across the road. The light was red for the cars. There was a big group of us, I'd say about 10 of us. The green man was walking. We all started walking. What do I hear behind me? As I'm halfway across and I hear my friends go, oh shit, I hear ring, ring, ding, 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 and watch it as this woman cycles right through the middle of our group walking across the fucking path. I wanted to scream. What do you mean watch it? Why are you barreling through us? I'm sorry, I'm getting actually annoyed. You guys understand when you think back to people who have mildly inconvenienced you get very angry. But I think what it is, it's more like, yeah, I probably wouldn't fare well if someone hit me going very fast on a bike. It probably wouldn't be very nice. But look, I'm sure I'd be okay as long as I don't hit my head or break something. I can take a bit of a rough and tumble. But if that happens to be a 70-year-old man or a woman with who uses a cane to walk, you're probably gonna possibly kill them, or at least severely hurt them, because you can't slow down for pedestrians. Fuck, I've made myself angry. It's gonna be a very angry reading. Oh, I'm so mad at myself. I was I went to sign up for Claude, the AI, because I ran out of messages for ChatGPT, and I was just simmer down, thank you, I'll take a sip. I'm not an AI bro, by the way, don't worry. I use it just for random searches. If I want something specific, it's good for that. It is good for that. So I went to sign up for Claude, but what I didn't realize was it said Claude on the website, but I didn't realize it was called use.ai. Use.ai is what it was called, was the website. And I signed up for it. Now it's not like a hacking website, but from what I could find, when I realized almost immediately after signing in, was, oh wait, hang on, this is a bullshit website. This is a website that says you can get access to all ChatGPT, Claude, all the different things, Deep Search or DeepSeek for $20 a month. I was like, this isn't real. And now they're sending me constant emails being, hey, finish what you started. Hey, you have an AI prompt waiting for you. Come use us today. Want access to all the AI for only $20 a month? Come back to us. I'm like, oh my god, I have to unsubscribe to them. Fuck. Okay, Clanker. Harry, you can't use the hard or. What the fuck? Stop that. Bold. As a search indexer, it's fine. Um, yeah, that's another group of people that annoy me. The AI bros. I hate AI writing. The thing is, AI is really handy for like I went through a phase where I would do like, okay, this is gonna sound bad, but I did like a role play. Now, let me explain what the role play was before you all jump down my throat and say ERPer, ERPer, ERPer. No, I was like a king. Okay, I was a king of a land. I made it create like a little country, and I made decisions. It was pretty fun. I put on my robe. I put on my robe and wizard hat. You will be my court wizard. Thank you, legend. A role play. Dot dot dot. Um, but yeah, no, I did that for a while. I had a lot of fun with it. The AI at sometimes was kind of interesting. Bros into power play with the king shit. But anyway, the issue with like ChatGPT or something is that it doesn't allow you to fail. You can be like, please make it like please give me drama and tension and allow things to fail, and it will be like, you made a great decision, good job. And like everyone will compliment you and just agree with whatever you say. Like, oh, god damn it. Haru. Capitalizing the R. But yeah, but because of that, I mean, I know a lot of people see it already. Like, a lot of people know it already, but I've been exposed as such to a lot of AI writing then. And I think a lot of people know its quirks. They know the M dash. They know the it's not X, it's Y stuff. But there's other things. There's a certain tone about the way it writes. Just go role play with someone like a normal person. Fine. Who will role play with me? Who among my friends would role play with me? Wait a minute. I role play. I joined D&D, Haru. I role play. I literally role play every week. But I gotta do it more. Regu says no ERPing on stream, but what about not on stream? We'll see about that. Okay. With the topic of role playing with my streamer friends out of the way, I want to get into the book reading. Congrats, Haru. You got almost exactly an hour out of me. It's 59:30, 31, 32, 33, 34 now. You did well to keep me talking. But I do want to get into the book reading. What the fuck? What? I'm just teasing. I'm drawing you pregnant, by the way. Good luck. Such is the life of the VTuber. Excuse me. Anyway, getting back to our reading, the Brian Boru and the Battle of Clontarf. Last stream, our first reading stream of this book, we kind of focused a lot on general insight into medieval Ireland, how the king system worked, the concept of rees and overlord kings, of land, of economy, of family and dynasty, and all that type of stuff. And we looked a little bit as well at the southern Unail, who primarily were situated sort of in Meath, a little bit in northern Leinster, but kind of dominated the Midlands of Ireland. Now we go and turn our attention towards the north of Ireland. This is all long before the UK. Well, yeah, the UK arrived. So this isn't Northern Ireland. This is just the north of Ireland, otherwise known as the Northern Unail. So there's a little map here for you guys, for those of you who like mappies. Maps are great, I will say. We love maps. Wait, hang on, they let us see things. I'm going to move this here. Move that there. No, you know what? The snails can stay in front of it. That's fine. The snails can stay there. I just want the point to be higher up. Where is the pointer? Oh, there it is. And I bring it up there. There we go. Now, you guys can take a look at some of the names here. Maybe I should have taken a closer picture on the map itself, but you might be able to see some of what I'm dealing with in terms of names. I'm trying my best. It's like old Irish. It's not very easy. Anyway, let us actually start the ASMR section of this stream that has been going on for over an hour. Yay. I do want to sit back. Please don't fall, microphone. There we go. I feel like I'm going to summon something if you try to pronounce these names. That's fair. That's fair. That's how it feels sometimes as well. That's why at times, like even with an understanding of Irish phonetics, I'll still be like, I'm not sure here. Because these are different too. Like old ways of spelling. The Northern Unail. The success of the Sons of Niall, remember Niall of the Nine Hostages, or Niall Nogluktuk, whether real or invented, in conquering the Midlands is said to have been matched by a similar expansion into the northwest, although there is little or no contemporary evidence for it. Indeed, the theory of a northern expansion from Connacht has been questioned, and doubt cast on whether the people concerned were Unail at all. According to later traditions, however, two of Niall's sons became ancestor figures of extraordinary distinction. One was Conal Gulban, or Gulban, whose nickname means of Ben Bulben, County Sligo, from whom were descended Kinneal Conale, the kindred of Conal, whose territory was Tir Conale, the land of Conale, or of Connall. And in the modern day, O'Connell is basically O'Connell. Kind of the name has stuck around. So you can see here, Kinneal Conale. The other was Owen, whose name is preserved in Inishowen and Tyrone, or Tir Noan, the land of Owen, home of his descendants, Kinneal Noan, the kindred of Owen. For both groups and for their less successful cousins, we use the term Northern Unail as a shorthand. The paramount king among them bore the title King of the North, or Ri in Folklee. They apparently gained their foothold first in Donegal, from which they began to expand eastwards into a province previously the domain of the people called Ulaid and Argiala. Kinneal Conale dominated at first, but after Aid Allen of Kinneal Owen secured the overlordship of the Unail in 734, there began a long rotation of the kingship of Tara between his branch of the Northern Unail and Clan Holmain of the Southern Unail, with the result that Kinneal Conail's power declined, and they remained confined to their Donegal homeland, while Kinneal Noan emerged into greatness. At first based in northeastern corner of Donegal, with their headquarters at the great fort at the entrance of the Inishowen Peninsula, known as the Grinon of Ailloch, and hence their ruler is often called Rialig, or King of Ailloch, they pushed eastwards across the Foyle into what is now County Derry, and then south into what became, because of them, Tyrone. And while they might claim to be kings of Ailloch, their royal inaugurations later took place at Tulloch Oak, or Tullahu, near Dungannon. So you're looking, where is it again? See if Ailloch is here where it's talking about, and then it describes them pushing into County Derry and Tyrone and kind of pushing eastwards, essentially taking much of this land. Do I see the area it mentions specifically about Tulloch Oak? There it is, down here. Tulloch Oak. Needless to say, the area was not a virgin territory when Kinneil Noan set their eyes on it. A huge chunk of what is now Mid-Ulster was in the possession of a federation of kingships called the Argiala, which means the hostage givers, now Oriel. They're a hair brand? Huh? Like a hair wash? Isn't that a name of like a brand of hair cleaner? Shampoo is the word I'm looking for. Shampoo. Oriel, yeah. And that must not be a good name to have, hostage givers. Their superiors may originally have been the Ulaid, but as Kinneil Noan pushed east and south of the Foyle, the latter became the Argiala's new masters. It is possible that the 9 hostages of Niall Noigaloch's Sobrient are 9 Tuatha of Argiala, and that they were called the hostage givers because of their subordination to Kinneil Noan. The latter took possession of the Argiala lands and Derry and Tyrone, pushing Argiala's centre of gravity south to Fermanagh, Monaghan, Armagh and North Louth, its heartland later becoming the Diocese of Clontarf. The great church of Armagh, which by the 7th century was already managing to convince many of its claim to be the pre-martial Church of all Ireland, lay in Argiala's territory, and Argiala's Dinas were its patrons and supplied its leaders. At this time, Unail attachment lay elsewhere. Cullum Keel came from an aristocratic Unail background. He was of the Kinneil Conoil, and therefore the great federation of churches subject to his monastery at Iona enjoyed the patronage and promoted the interests of the Unail. But as the other great branch of the northern Unail, Kinneil Noan, increased its domination of Argiala, so too Armagh fell under its sway, and as Armagh promoted its own cause, it became the vehicle for the advancement of the claims of Kinneil Noan. If Armagh was to be Ireland's chief church, Kinneil Noan must supply its rightful kings. Their connection was such that when the annals record a murder taking place in the monastic city of Armagh in 870, they mention in passing that it happened in front of the door of the house of Aed Finlia, died 879, the king of Kinneil Noan and over-king of the Unail. When one of Aed's grandsons died in 935, we are told that he was buried in Armagh, in the cemetery of the kings, in Cimiterio Regum. And Aed's great-grandson, Donal Uanail, died when in retirement at Armagh in 980. Propaganda produced at Armagh may have bolstered the position of these Kinneil Noan kings, but their success in the world of politics and on the field of battle were their own. It was Aed Allan, who died in 743, who secured the exclusion of his collaterals, Kinneil Conail, from over-kingship of the northern Unail, and who triumphed over the Ulaid at the Battle of Foggart in County Louth in 735, and over the Leinstermen at Auth Senaig, or in Ballyshannon, County Kildare in 738. Having convened in a remarkable Rig Dáil, or royal meeting, with the King of Munster, Cottal mac Fingwina, the previous year. All testimony to the supra-provincial ambitions of Kinneil Noan. By the 8th century. Hello, Tasty. It's nice to see you. How are you? I hope you're having a very lovely day. We're just doing a little bit of reading. Well, I'm doing a little bit of reading. You guys are able to listen and chillax and have me on in the background. Aed Allan's nephew, Aed Orneida, was equally forceful in making his presence felt in Ulaid. Just to give a little bit of context, I suppose, the Ulaid would be kind of in this region. if I remember correctly. They'd kind of be... They would have been pushed by the Noans, or Owens, but there has an N next to it, so it's a little bit different. Just the way Irish works. But they would be kind of this region. Where were we? Oh yeah. Was equally forceful in making his presence felt in Ulaid, and in the lands of the southern Unail and in Leinster. In 805 he deposed the King of Leinster, who was head of one of the three main lineages of the dynasty of Udunlain, and partitioned the province between the heads of the other two lineages, and his reign coinciding with the first wave of Viking incursions, he seems to have been effective in keeping them at bay. You're very tired, but otherwise perfect timing to chill in bed with your reading. That's good to hear, Tasty. I hope you're able to... I hope you enjoy, or if you're just having me on as background, I accompany you to a nice eepy sleep. Aed's son, Niall Caela, died in 846, was the one who finally subdued Arigala to Kinnail Noan's control. He was also equally firm in resisting Viking penetration of northern Unail territory, and was very prominent on the national stage. He too deposed a Leinster king in favour of a protege from a competing lineage, but is most famous as the man who put paid to the most serious threat hitherto posed to the hegemony of the Unail, that of Fudail Mead mac Crim Thain, king of Munster, who died in 847. Niall's son, Eid Finlay, who was periodically allied to the Vikings, marrying his daughter to Amleib Fiend, Olfer, or Olaf the White. That sounds like a Lord of the Rings character, Olaf the White, king of Dublin, and ally in Eid's ultimately successful bid for the kingship of Tara, although Eid was resolute in resisting attempts by the Vikings of Strangford Lough to strengthen their presence in the north. On 3 occasions in the 870s, the annalists had commented critically on the failure to hold the Onuk Tailton, the Fair of Tailtu, or Tailtu, the calling of which was a pejorative of Aed Finlea as King of Tara, and it is noticeable that his son and successor Niall Glundub did just that immediately upon succeeding to the kingship in 916. Note he died in 919. Are sometimes just inspired by reality. Our names there. This seems to have been a conscious revival by Niall of a symbolic occasion that had been drifting towards oblivion, and it is perhaps indicative of an attempt by Niall Glundub to galvanise national opposition to Viking aggression. In 917 he marched south to support the attempt by the overkings of Leinster and Munster to halt the Viking occupation of Waterford and Dublin. In 919, becoming the first king of Tara to lose his life in conflict with Vikings, when he suffered a major defeat at the Battle of Cael Shamoch in Island Bridge near Dublin. Moreover, Niall, from whom the later O'Neills of Ulster take their name, produced in his son Muirchertach, who died in 943, an even more inveterate foe of the Vikings, known as Muirchertach na Cócail Cracén, or Craceen. Kraken? Of the leather cloaks. Muirchertach na Cócail Craceen, of the leather cloaks, apparently from the mantles worn by his soldiers in campaigning against them. His reign as King of the North, although he did not live long enough to secure the kingship of Tara, again saw notable success in uprooting Viking attempts at settlement on the Ulster coastline. He is credited with a successful naval expedition to the Viking colony in the Hebrides. That's in Scotland, by the way. And, like his father before him, lost his life in battle at Clonkeen, County Louth, with the Viking king of Dublin. Muirchertach's career also testifies to the enduring national ambition of the kings of Kinneil Noan, Although a poem celebrating his famous Circuit of Ireland in 941 can be shown to be a much later composition, the events at its core are historical and show a man campaigning far from his home base, marching through Meath and in south into Ufelig, Usraig and Dacy, that is, down into Munster effectively, and capturing the Overking of Munster, Kelcán Cashel, whom he brought back to his southern Unail overlord as a prisoner. But Mercatoc's early death caused the first stutter in the Kinneal known advance. It led to an opening for the reigning king of the rival Kinneal Conail of Donegal, Ruadh na Conain, to make a bid for power. Having secured the kingship of the north, Ruadh set his eyes on the kingship of Tara, now in the hands of the equally enterprising upstart Congoloch Noba, king of northern Brega. Ruadh's efforts at outgunning Congoloch are testimony to the persistent strength of the Dublin Vikings at this time. In 945, Ruadh was defeated in battle in Conail Muirthana, or Muirthana, North Louth, by Congoloch and Amlaib Coran of Dublin. Where were we? In 947, he again came south from Tir Conail and this time defeated Congoloch and Amlaib Coran near Slane. And in 950, he turned again to the challenge of taking the kingship of Tara, setting up camp in Meath and in Congoloch's lands in Brega for 6 months before facing the army of Dublin in the major battle of Muina Burcain, in which, although 2,000 of Amlaib's Coran's army are said to have perished, Ruadh lost his own life, and Kinneal Conail pretensions to the kingship of Tara rapidly deteriorated. When Ruadh's death at the hands of the Dubliners was followed in 956 by Congoloch Nobles in a similar fashion, it paved way for the son of Mercatoch na Cocal Crocain, a Donal Uaneil. He was literally Donal Uaneil, Donal, grandson of Niall Glundubh, to reclaim Tara for his line. And it is noticeable that as soon as he did so, he set about asserting military supremacy over the other provinces. In 962, he was in Meath, and went as far as Munster to press his claims. In 965, he secured the submission of the Overking of Connacht, Fergal Uaruach, and in 968 he was attacking Leinster in the north of Dublin, although he suffered a major defeat at the hands of Congoloch Noba's son and Amlaib of Dublin in 970. In the following year, the annals tells us, he took revenge on them on that occasion for their opposition to him, for he erected a camp in every tuath in Meath, which seems to mean that he imposed garrisons on the inhabitants, perhaps representing an intensification of contemporary warfare. The Irish it gives here is Dorina Longport Keaka Tuaha Emid. By now, the great age of Kinneal Noan's preeminence was coming to the end. By the time of Donal Uaneil's death in 980, Brian Boru was already beginning to make his mark, and the Uaneil ascendancy was about to face its stiffest challenge. But before that, we have to discuss the Ulaid. That was me saying we have to discuss them. A new section, the Ulaid. It's a very short section, and I think the next couple of sections are kind of similar. No, Connacht is decently sized. Relations with one's neighbours can be fraught, and no neighbours were more constant in their antagonism than the Northern Unail and the Ulaid. Later, Ulaid. The Ulaid plus the Norse genitive s plus tir, which is the Irish for land, equals Ulster. The enmity stemmed from the Ulaid's memory of former glory days brought to an end by the ascendancy of the Unail, and the encroachment on their ancestral territories. At the dawn of Irish history, hello tasty, Oh, get destroyed, bot seller. This feels like I'm dozing off in Professor Rua's class. My bad. I promise the lesson is interesting, Professor. That's okay. You can go sleepies. You can go sleepies. That's fine. I do hope I I I do hope that it's possible to follow, because I feel like with all the names it might be quite difficult, because obviously it's easier for me because I can see when the names change and stuff, or I can recognize the spellings. But for you guys, it might be a little bit trickier. But I'm trying to keep a nice consistent rhythm too. At least you're not summoning something. That's true. That's fair. We'll see. Maybe I still will. Maybe you will be an incubus or a succubus. You're so cooked, by the way. Oh no, what's Haru drawing? At the dawn of Irish history, in the 5th century, Emain Macha, Navan Fort near Armagh, was remembered as the political focal point of the land of Ulaid, but the possession of it was lost when the Ulaid were driven eastward by the Unail and Arigala from their dominant position in the centre of Ulster to a coastal remnant in County Antrim, County Down and County Louth, a situation that had occurred by the 8th century. So if I can see it here, what did it say it was? It said it was Eamon Macha, which would sit, I believe it sits somewhere. Sorry, I'm trying to see. There's Armagh. Near Armagh is Eamon Macha. I assume it might be somewhere around here. You're a pretty pregnant man. Doing the good work, Haru, bringing more Embrek into existence. What's wrong with you guys? What's wrong with you? Disgusting. Where were we? Wait, here we are. Strictly speaking, the medieval Ulaid were the people known as Dal Fiatach, whose capital was at Dun Dalachas, or Downpatrick, and whose territory stretched from Belfast Loch to Dundrum Bay in County Down. They were distantly related to the Dal Riata of the Glens of Antrim, but did not have to compete with them for the overkingship of Ulaid, because by the 6th century the Dal Riata were busy conquering the Hebridean islands in the Islay and Mull groups, and indeed having overwhelmed much of mainland Argyll and Kintyre, founding what would become the Kingdom of the Scots, or Scotland. Of greater concern to the Dal Fiatach were the Dal Nridi, descendant from the Cruithne, whose kings lived in Raith Moor, just east of the town of Antrim, in the fertile plain of Maglina, around the valley of the 6 Mile Water in South Antrim. During the Viking Age in particular, I'll just show it's kind of this region they're kind of really talking about right now. During the Viking Age in particular, Dal Nridi enjoyed some success in outmaneuvering Dal Fiatach for the Ulaid overkingship, perhaps because the latter's energies were dissipated in resisting Viking incursions into East Ulster, and because of the competition between Dal Fiatach and the Vikings for the control of the Isle of Man, in which the Ulaid had a long-standing interest. And somehow one of your okay works in months. I'm glad you're feeling good about this. Clearly it does inspire you. But Dal Fiatach remained the dominant force among the Ulaid. They were remarkably stubborn in their refusal to kowtow to Cneil Noan's imperiousness, for which they paid a price, as when the Cneil Noans slaughtered the king of the Ulaid and many of their nobility at the Battle of Craib Tailca in 1004. One consequence of this catastrophe, apart from plunging the dynasty into a blood-spattered succession war, was that the Ulaid, who were normally happy to align themselves with Cneil Noan's enemies and should therefore, as we shall see, have been ripe for the enlistment by Brian in his great drive against Cneil Noan, proved to be of little benefit. Hello, Rory. It's nice to see you. How are you? It's like, how you doing? Thank you for stopping by. It's very sweet. We're doing a little bit of reading. We're reading about Irish history, specifically Irish history in kind of like the 7th to 10th century. Push over. Anyway, where were we? You good? Studying at the moment? Hope you're doing well. Ooh, I hope studying goes well. I hope you learn a lot. Hope you learn a lot. I'm doing well too. My shoulder was kind of acting up. My neck and shoulder was kind of at me the last few days. But I think going to the gym and stretching out and rolling out helped a little. Hello, Yuki. Hello, how are you? Oh my god. Fua's fans are coming. Well, you guys are my fans too, right? Right? No. You guys are coming along to say hi. I hope Fua's having a fun stream. It was fun joining him for like the 10 minutes as I rapidly tried to explain things. I hope you remember everything you study in, not the highlighter colors. Oh, Haru, I'm more of a fan for Ruadh, trust. I'm just gonna disallow that comment. I know a few people who loved highlighting everything. You know, I specifically didn't allow that comment because I just found it kind of rude as a first comment. So I'm going to time out that because that kind of annoyed me. The auto mod held it, and I said, no, I won't. And then they posted it again, and Automod went through. Automod was like, yeah, no, it's fine this time. What the fuck, Automod? Do your job. What's wrong with you? It's going well. I miss you joining Fua's stream. Such a chance. I know. I bullied Fua. I made fun of Fua for buying a swimming subscription. You're blocking me saying ho, but not that. It confused. It is a little. What happened with your shoulder? This is something that I've been dealing with for a good while, Rory. I'm talking almost 2 years since. I really don't know what happened. It might have been something that's been slowly building up, but about 2 years ago, I injured myself doing bench press. I think I just came off the bench really weirdly, and like my form completely broke down while I was lifting decently heavy, and something in my like upper neck, I think, shifted and got very stiff. And I remember waking up the day it happened. Or sorry, the night it happened. I remember waking up at like 4 a.m. I think, and I was like, "Oh, my arm really hurts." And then I went to sit up, and it really fucking hurt. It really hurt. Oh god, I forget this is ASMR. I can't talk loudly. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry for ruining your ASMR. It was like all the way down my neck, down to my elbow. And I could turn my head. If you look at my model, I can turn my head. Okay, my body kind of turns a bit, but you know, see how much I can actually visually show this. See how I can move my head nice and left and right to like 45 degrees, I would say, either side. I'll show you how much I can move my neck for like 2 weeks. I'd say that might even be more than I could. I'd say for the first week it was literally like that much. So yeah, it wasn't good. But hey, no, I'm back in the gym at least, and I'm able to walk around, so I'm thankful for that. But yeah, I think it might have been spinal, which isn't good. I'm worried what like 10 years brings down the line, but I think as long as I keep training and I'm careful with it, I should be okay. And thank you guys for the head pats. It's very nice of you. It's the worst. It gets exhausting to have to mind your movements like that. Yeah. It was very mentally taxing as well as just painful. It still is from time to time. Like some weeks when it flares up for a few days, it is like it's not just. It's because it's constant. Like for example, for the last couple of weeks, it like hasn't even been there. It's been like my neck has been. Sometimes it gets stiff, it cracks. It's okay, it's common. Then some weeks it's consistently sore, and that grinds you down. I've been to physio and I've been to a doctor. I think at this stage, I might go to a physio again and see if they give anything specific. What I do find helps is shoulder work. Surprisingly, helps me. Shoulder exercises more often than not. I guess I feel stronger. Working on my back helps too, but a lot of it's posture. Just sitting down a lot probably isn't great for it. I often feel better when I go for long walks. But yeah, that's what happened to me. Maybe I should go to a physio again. I should use my health insurance that fucking increased in price from last year and forced me to drop a level. Dickheads. Sorry. I have some similar issues with your lower back because if I should finger cross the physio can help. Abuse your insurance. I really should. I really should abuse it. Ow. So like I guess that's one thing. Maybe you guys notice sometimes that my model will just do this, or I'll like look up here for like a second. That's usually me just trying to like crack something. Just like let me just get that there. But it's okay. It's okay. I think it might be passing soon. This flare up. Where were we? Ah, yes, we were here in Connacht, and our map is going to change. We're going to get a new map. I'm sure you guys have been diligently studying that map and recognizing every. Sometimes you just want someone to wring you like a towel. Oh, so true. Oh my god, I keep forgetting about it. I keep forgetting to set up the. Oh god, this is kind of big. Let me do this. Do that. It's still kind of big. It's like a big square. There, you know what? That's okay. Wait, I'll make it a little bit teenier. There we go. Oh, wait! Someone followed. I saw the welcome message. Wait, let me set this up. Who followed? Who followed? Who was nice? Hello, Senya. Senya, it was nice. Thank you for the follow. Very kind of you. I wanted to get someone to step on my back, but it would feel so good. I agree. I think it would feel good too to have someone to just like step on my back. But what I really need, guys, is I need a middle-aged, like small Asian woman with hands of steel to just kick the shit out of my back and shoulders and neck. Like they know what they're doing. It's like an Asian woman gets to like age 40, and she might just gain the grip strength of the gods. And she can suddenly like just completely push. I don't know what it is. I can kick the shit out of you if I check most of the boxes. Old Haru. Thank you though. I will maybe I'll take you up on the offer. You can just like stamp on me. But no, definitely I do need to try and go for another massage again. That it was quite nice. I remember that's the box that's not checked. I don't know. I don't believe that. I don't believe that one. Where were we? There we are. Connacht. The Western Province. You're gonna make me extra pregnant already. The Western Province is the land of the Connachta, a people said to descend from the Iron Age king Con Caethortuk, or Con of the 100 Battles, who is perhaps a product of legend. As with all the provinces, it was not that all those west of the Shannon were thought to be descendants of Con, merely that the latter, having a dominant position, claimed the province as rightly theirs. They shared it with peoples, many of whom were distantly related to population groups scattered far and wide throughout Ireland, such as the Carriga, related to those who give their name to Kerry, the Lugna, Gaelinga, Calrig, Graeskig, Patrick, Delbna, Sogain, and the Macnay, one of whose branches, Conmacnoara, give us the present day Connemara, which is a place in Ireland. And the Connaughta, who shared their province with the Umain of East County Galway and South Roscommon, who were significant enough to be supplied with a false genealogical link to the Connaughta. By Brian Boraim's day, their main branch bore the surname Ua Caelig, or O'Kelly, and their king died alongside Brian at the Battle of Clontarf. I love how everything's like complicated to pronounce, and then there's Patrick. It's more Patrick. It's P-A-R-T or A-I-G-E. But yeah, if I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. What? Oh, Rory, yeah, if you take a look here, you can see some of the names I'm trying to pronounce to the best of my ability. A lot of this is like old Irish. It's like Ashley. Yes, it's exactly like Ashley. Tiny mobile screen debuff. You can't see on yo. This stuff is already kind of tiny on my screen, so I can't imagine what it's like on a phone. As the true Connaughta, they are said to descend from the three brothers of Niall Nogaluk, Brian, Fiachri, and Elil. Elil's progeny dwindled to local lordly rank, remembered today in the barony of Tirrell, County Sligo. Brion's progeny, called Ua Brion, descendants of Brion, were vastly more assertive and seem to have started from a base in the fertile plain of Magnai, where the province's ancient capital of Cruachu, or Rathcrogan, County Roscommon, was situated. And Cruachu is roughly, I believe... Oh God, where is Cruachu? There's Patrick. I just sworn Cruachu is meant to be somewhere in this region. I am misremembering. Okay. Like Ruadh, like Ruri. Ruadri. I had to get it from my notes. Whenever you say fertile, my head just goes hee hee. Of course it does. You can just bullshit us and we'll probably believe you. True. As it prospered over the course of time, Uibriun splintered into branches. By far the most successful was a portion that remained in its Roscommon heartland at Magnai. They were thus called Uibriun I, from whom one of whose kings, Murdoch Multhan, died 702, came the lineage known as Shiel Muradrig, which by Brian's time had adapted the surname Ua Crahur, or O'Connor. Now this is a name that I have seen regularly discussed how to pronounce in, like, even among people who are very good at Irish. This is the one that people tend to say, just go with Ua Crahur, which is how O'Connor would typically be pronounced in Irish. I'm going to tell you guys how this is spelt. So, Crahur is coming from the letters Conchobaior. It's either you or Mike who told me actually in Irish Gaelic, Ruadri is how you spell Rory. Sort of. Yeah, that would be... it would be similar names. Rory would be... I've seen different spellings. Rory. So another spelling I've seen for Ruri is something like this. But yeah, Rory would be. Rory has a few different names. New name unlocked. Cute. But yeah, Ua Krahur. I've also heard people going Ua Con Hrober, but I don't know if that's correct. And I'm going to stick with Krahur because it's easier for me to say. Throughout the rest of the Middle Age, so the surname Ua Krahur and throughout the rest of the Middle Ages provided kings of Connacht. A second major branch of Ua Briún was known as the Ui Briún Brefein, now County Leitrim and Cavan. From its leader Ruark, who died in 898, it adopted the surname Uaruark or O'Rourke in English. And by the time of Brian Boraim, it was beginning to make its presence felt on the wider national stage. One final branch of the dynasty, that known as Ua Briún's Shola, took its name from the plain east of Loch Corrib, called Mag Shola. Although by Brian's day, at which point its main line had adopted the surname Ua Flappertig, or O'Flaherty, it was no doubt beginning to feel the presence that led to it being pushed west of the Corrib into Connemara. So you can see kind of the main names here: Ui Briún I, Briún Brefein, or Brefna, Uela, Ua Fiacruk Muida. You see some of these I'm confident in, and then others I'm like, that's roughly correct. Besides these descendants of Brion, the other great power among the Connachta was the reputed descendants of his brother Fiacre, called Ui Fiacruk. To begin with, they appear, if anything, even more successful than the Ua Briún, at least up till the end of the 8th century. There were two separate arms of the dynasty, occupying opposite ends of the province. The northern Ua Fiacruk held the area surrounding Killala Bay and the valley of the River Moy, and produced a number of overkings of the province until the beginning of the Viking Age. So it's probably talking about these lads up here. You're better than me. I would have just went King and Over King made multiple attempts at killing each other until eventually won over King. That would be you. You sound like you're having a stroke. As if I don't sound any better. Where were we? The Nornu had held the area surrounding Killala Bay and the valley of River Moy and produced a number of overkings for the province until the beginning of the Viking Age. They declined from this point on, perhaps, hinting at destabilization caused by Viking activity in the region. The southern branch were called the Ui Fiacruk Éadna, and held an area southeast of Galway Bay that became the diocese of Kilmacduagh. Of the Connacht dynasties, they are arguably the one most involved in Munster affairs. So, down here, these lads. Éadna. The Shannon had once formed the boundary between Munster and Connacht, but the area south of the Slieve Aughey Mountains and the Galway-Clare border had been seized by Brian's remote ancestors at some point between the 5th and 7th centuries. The Ui Fiacruk king who came closest to claiming the lands stretching south of the Shannon was the fabled Gwera Éadna, who died in 663, who fought a battle in County Limerick against the Munstermen in 627, and whose family remained closely associated with the great Thomond churches of Inishkeltra on Loch Derg, and Tuamgraney in County Clare. These long-standing geopolitical links partly explain why Gwera Éadna's descendant, Mael Ruadh Ua Éadan of Ua Fiacruk, was one of the few non-Munster princes to die alongside Brian at the Battle of Clontarf. Le Leith Cuan and Leith Moga. All these dynasties, the Connachta and Unail, the Argiala and Ulaid, and the other unrelated descendant groups and subject peoples that coexisted around and under them, were confined to the northern half of Ireland. Its formal name was Leith Cuan. Con's half, from Con Ceatatuk, ancestor of the Connachta and Unail. The southern half of Ireland was called Leith Moga, or Mug's half, literally the half of the slave, from Mug Nuadat, otherwise known as Owen, the ancestor figure of the paramount dynasty in Munster, the Éigeanachta. The dividing line between the two halves, the learned men of medieval Ireland said, ran along the course of the Éisce Riada, from the ford called Éith Clia over the Liffey at Dublin, to the ford of the same name over the river Claren at Claren Bridge, County Galway. The theory developed by the literati was that Ireland had originally been divided in two by Eramón and Eber, the sons of Meal who first settled the island, and that this division had been perpetuated in the sharing out of the island between their descendants, Con and Owen. It was probably an attempt to rationalize the political status quo at the time of the theory's concoction, perhaps in the 7th or 8th century, when the sphere of influence of the King of Tara coincided with those northern provinces, and the influence of the Oanachta kings of Cashel was restricted to Munster and intermittently its southern neighbours. But, given the fact that the Unail, King of Tara, exercised somewhat more effective overlordship of the northern half, to say nothing of his authority beyond it, especially in Leinster, than the King of Munster did throughout the southern half, the claim that the two kings enjoyed equal status was weak, suggesting that it was originally dreamt up to bolster Munster's claims. Despite this, the authenticity of the division was accepted by the Unail. The term Leith Cuan is used in literature associated with the Unail, such as the Annals of Ulster, when it first appears as early as 748. And we have seen that in 859, Mael Shocknail I convened a royal conference of the nobility of Ireland, Riagdal Mathaerin, at Rahu, County Westmeath, which presided over the short-lived alienation of the southern kingdom of Osraig from Leith Moga to Leith Cuan, with the agreement, however reluctant, of the over-king of Leith Moga, Mael Guale of Munster. Someone followed. Hello, Wendigo Queen. Thank you very much for the follow. Very kind of you. And now we get to learn all about the southern half of Ireland. We have more. This is... How much more of this is just like talking about these specific groups? I think it's a decent portion, because we're also going to be getting into... Okay, yeah. After like another 10 pages, we start getting into specifics on kingship and the Vikings. Cool. But wait, there's more type shit. Yeah, we've only covered half Haru. To be fair, the northern half had a lot going on. But from this, we get to move on to a new map. You guys are loving all these maps, right? You appreciate me spending time to... Oh my god, this is a big map. To take these photos. It's a lot of work taking a photo, you know. Map. Wait, hang on. Let me... Can I like stretch this? Can I stretch it this way? Oh, I can. That actually makes it more readable, too. Neat. Neato. There we go. Still can't believe my best digital art for months is pregnant Ua. I can believe it. That sounds exactly like the sort of thing that you would do really well. It's a map. It's a map. I'm the map. I'm the map. Yeah, Harry, you can be my map and we'll do like a Dora the Explorer type thing. I'd be like, Haru, where do we go now? And you'll be like, I can't fucking pronounce that shit. I don't know. How about How about Uagrachonin? Go there. I'll be like, okay. And then I'll go there and like Swiper will be swiping. Ua with Dora fucking bangs, I'm gonna cry. The Explorer. Rua the Explorer. Yeah, it works. It works out somehow. Swiper! Swiper, no swiping. Say it with me, guys. Swiper, no swiping. He stole my weapons on you. Girl, you're gonna be Swiper because you know. I think I know why. Ah, it's because I'm a redhead, isn't it? Rua, no ooing. No, but ua just means descendant of. I'm not allowed to be a descendant anymore. Are you saying I'm not allowed? Legend is saying no pregnant ua. Rua, no ooing. Anyway, the province of Lagan, later Lagan, and by the 7th century at the latest had shrunk to the area bound by the Liffey, the Bog of Allen, and the Sleeve Bloom Mountains, and the Lower Barrow. This is eventually Lagan plus the North genitive s plus Tyr, the Irish for land, gives us the name Leinster. It may have been geographically in the southern half of Ireland, but the Unail were wont to eye it up for Leith Cuan. There was a tradition that the Unail were entitled to exact a borama, or cattle tribute. From them, a different borama led to Brian acquiring his famous nickname. And the next, called Borama Lagan, the cattle tribute of Leinster, itemizes what the Unail kings of Tara, a text called the Borama Lagan, what the Unail kings of Tara demanded of the Leinstermen as follows. Thrice 5,000 cows, thrice 5,000 swine, thrice 5,000 mantles, thrice 5,000 chains of silver, thrice 5,000 wethers, thrice 5,000 cauldrons of brass, a great cauldron of brass into which 12 swine and 12 beeves would go in the house of Tara itself, 30 white, red-eared cows with calves of the same colour, and with ties of bronze and tethers of bronze, and with their milk pails of bronze in addition thereto. It seems really difficult. This is literature, not history, but there might be a germ of truth in the basic point of the story, which is that the Unail persistently sought the submission of the Leinstermen, something the latter strove to deny them. It was probably pressure from the Unail that had caused the contraction of Leinster in the first place, the Leinstermen remembering a time when their ancestors had ruled in Tara before it passed into Unail hands. This annexation is the meaning behind those tales that feature an ancestor figure of the Unail mating with a Leinster woman, as when the legendary Cormac Mac Airt abducts Aithne Thofota, daughter of the King of Lagan, as she is presumably a sovereignty figure who symbolises the kingship passing from the Lagan to the Unail. It is not known whether the early Lagan settlement in Britain, which, as we have seen, we can trace from Ogham inscriptions and place names, were a response to this encroachment from the north, but they are a reminder that Leinster was a province that tended to maintain very close links with the world beyond St. George's Channel. As throughout Ireland, the geography of Leinster dictated settlement, and settlement dictated political allegiances. Thus, the Wicklow Mountains were a dividing line between the northern part of the province and the fertile lands of the Liffey Valley and the plains of Kildare, dominated by the Dunlane, and the southern part of the valleys of the Barrow and Slaney, dominated by the Shenslaig. The latter produced a few over-kings of Leinster all the way up to the early 8th century, and were to do so again when the family of the infamous Diarmait mac Murachada, or Dermot mac Murragh, came to the fore in the 11th century. But in the interval, the Dunlain of North Leinster dominated. To explain why he calls Diarmid mac Morchada infamous, Diarmid was the individual who was ousted from kingship, and he was a person who fled to the King of England and requested help from the English to retake his throne in his land. It was he that effectively caused the invasion of Ireland by England, because he gave them a foothold in Ireland, in Dublin, in Leinster, effectively. And from there, the whole thing began. Fucking traitor. 3 brothers, Murdoch, Félán, and Donnchad, who lived in the first half of the 8th century, each founded a lineage that became a substantial territorial kingdom within North Leinster, alternating the overkingship of the province between them. The descendants of Murdoch died 760, known as the Ua Murdoch, Muirdig, bore the title Rig Eithar Liffey, king of the western Liffey plain, and maintained a grip of the dynasty's headquarters at Maestiew, or Mullamast, County Kildare. From one of their more successful kings, Tuathal, who died in 958, they adopted the surname Ua Tuathail, Tuahoil, or O'Toole in modern Irish, and they were to remain a potent force in Dublin's southern hinterlands for many years. So you're talking about... Ooh, need to move this up a little, and I need to move that down a little. Kind of this region up here. Maestiew, I believe, is... There it is, right there. Oh, hello, Pip. It's nice to see you. Who's pregnant and who's the dad? Who do you think Haru's drawing? He got 2 baby daddies. I don't even get to know. I don't even get to know who I get to take child support from. With your fuck? Why? Because it's Haru. I may have made Haru Angie. I like how there's snails all over the map. Sorry guys, you have to put up with the snails. You get 2 based? Nice. That's actually way better. The same is true of the progeny of Félán, who died in 738, whose overlordship was further north, based at Naas, and whose king bore the title Ri Eithar Liffey, king of the eastern Liffey plain. Their king, Mael Morda, held the overkingship of Leinster at the time of the Battle of Clontarf, and was Brian's principal Irish opponent in the battle, in which both men lost their lives. From Mael Morda's son Bran, the dynasty adopted the surname Ua Brian, or O'Byrne. And while they, like their Uathuathal cousins, were later banished by the Anglo-Normans from the plains of Kildare to the wilds of Wicklow, they nevertheless went on to play a central role in later centuries. Not to mess with Harrow. Don't mess with artists. They can draw you pregnant. Your tummy big though, so you could... No, what the fuck? Why is she like this? Why are you like this, Harrow? The third line of the Dunlain, descended from Donnchad, died in 728, and bearing the dynastic name Ui Donnchada, was further north still, in Dolphin's Barn near Kilmainham, is said to be a corruption of Ui Donnchada's cairn, and had its headquarters at Liaman, Newcastle Lions, on the border of Dublin and Kildare. By the 11th century, when they had conquered the Cualu area of South County Dublin, or Cualu, and North County Wicklow, they had adopted the surname Macagilla McColmoch. Macgilla McColmoch. That's it, Macgilla McColmoch. and after 1170 married into and merged with the Anglo-Norman conquerors of nearby Dublin. Did you piss me off? Maybe you deserve it? I like how you think you're using your artist skill for evil. True. It is possible that Dunlain gained supremacy in Leinster because they enjoyed the favour of the Clan Colmain kings of the southern Unail, but as the Unail consolidated their hegemony over Leith Cuan, their aspirations began to impose themselves on Leith Mogas. Set in. Don Camidi invaded Leinster in 77, spending a week at the ancient hill fort at Dún Éilín in County Kildare, a place of symbolic significance for the Leinstermen, and 10 years later he had also laid waste to the land and churches of Leinster. Oh my god, I realised I haven't been using my book this whole time. I'm so dumb. I've just been rattling this off from memory, don't worry guys. I lived through this, of course. I'm from nearly 1700 years ago. I remember all this like it was yesterday. Thank you for the head pat. Dias Meriguit. Tommy Gama. Unfortunately, my Irish isn't very good. I need to spend some time to really properly learn it. I was only talking to my singing teacher last week, and she was saying that she spent like 2 years ago. She really got into learning Irish. Sure, Unk. Book. Thank you, Legend, for reminding me of my book. But hello, Grantig. Welcome in. It's nice to meet you. I hope you enjoy reading about Irish history alongside interruptions. By weirdos like Haru and sweet ducks like Pip. Thank you for having me. Very nice to meet you. Mm-hmm. Where were we? We were... Hello, Master Quinox. A reader is so exciting. I disagree. I feel like... I remember one time I saw someone go... Rua's reading sounds like the worst stream idea. That's not exciting at all. I was like, it's not meant to be exciting. It's meant to be... It's meant to be relaxing. What? I was interrupting you. No. I said you were the sweet duck. I have a strange question about Irish mythology. I will do my best to answer. I'll do my best. I'll try. I'll see if I remember. This stream seems to be a real page turner. Where was I? Duncan's successor at King of Tara, Ide Ornead, of the northern Unail, devastated Leinster twice in 1 month in 804, and the following year he sought to undermine the province further by partitioning it in two between the heads of what would become the Ui Murdig and the U Felain branches, or lineages, an extraordinary demonstration of Unail's self-confidence and ambition. This same King of Tara was defeated by the Leinstermen at the Liffey in 808, partitioned the kingdom in two again in 818, and led one final invasion in the following year, in which he laid waste the province, from Cooloo to Glendalough. Every stream ends up chaotic. No, not every stream. Ide's son, Niall Céile, succeeded him as king of the northern Unail, and it is noticeable that after his assumption to the kingship of Tara in 832, he too intervened in the Leinster to appoint a king of his own choosing, as if it were a right due to him by virtue of his rank. But Leinster was part of Leith Moga, and Leith Moga was dominated by the kings of Munster. The latter therefore denied the right of the king of Tara to intervene. This is why the celebrated king of Munster, Félimin mac Crimthain, who died in 847, entered Leinster in 841, and, though unsuccessful, did battle with the king of Tara, Niall Céile, somewhere in County Kildare. But the reason they came to blows was that Félimid had marched all the way from Munster to the place called Carman, where the kings of Leinster convened the Onuk, or assembly, that was their sole prerogative. Presumably, he had been intending to celebrate the Onuk Carmain himself, to demonstrate that it was he, the King of Cashel, rather than the King of Tara, who was Leinster's rightful overlord. Is it true that the concept of hurling comes from the legend of Cuchulainn? As didn't he kill an evil hound or cow with a rock he hit with an early style hurl? Apologies if I got that wrong. No, it's a little bit off. There is multiple stories of Cuchulainn. Some describe him picking up the animal and swinging it about. Others describe him with a hurley. It's not that the concept of hurling comes from Cuchulainn. Now, of course, it's possible that hurling developed later, but hurling has history thousands of years. Very, very old sport. Obviously, it's changed massively. But rather than him hitting like a rock with a stick, it's actually described in some stories that he directly has a hurley stick. The story, I believe if I remember correct, the early stories, some of them, describe that the reason why Cuchulainn was late going to Con's house, going to Culain's house, was because he was too busy playing hurling against 100 other boys. He was on his own, but he beat all 100 of them because he's Cuchulainn. He's based like that. A few other things. He killed an evil hound. So it wasn't the way the story goes is that the Hound of Cu was a hound that was a guard dog the Hound of Cullen, because Cu means hound, so Cuchulainn means Hound of Cullen. The Hound of Cullen was a great guard dog, and Cullen was basically having a gathering of the local lords. So they were all coming there, and Cullen, Master. Oh God, what was his first name again? Satanta. That's it. I can't believe my mind was stuck on Fionn McCool, but I knew it wasn't Fionn McCool. Obviously, it was Satanta. That was his original name. So Satanta tells his master he'll be there. He'll follow them along, but his master forgets that Cullen or that Satanta is coming. So when Cullen says, "I will put out the dog, I'll put out the hound to protect us while we have this gathering," he thinks nothing of it, and they all stay there. And then Satanta comes along, and the animal, the hound, protects the house. It thinks he's an intruder, so he raises up and strikes the slitter into the dog's mouth, killing it, choking it to death, or just killing it outright. I like the one where it hits it into the mouth. I think it's a level. It shows a level of skill too. And the hound dies, and Cullen is obviously distraught. He raised this thing from a pup. It would take another however many years to raise such a beautiful and great guard dog as this one. And how Cuchulainn gets his name is that he kneels to Cullen, and he swears that until the time that he has a new dog, he has a new hound, he will be his hound. He will be his guard dog. And so he gains the name Cuchulainn. So that's the story of Cuchulainn. I think the references to hurling are, at least in the stories where it does, because again, with any folklore, there's variations, but are quite specific, that it's not just like, oh, it was something that, may have descended from, that may have been a precursor to hurling. It was like, no, this was effectively the early game of hurling that he was playing, and he was able to kill it with a hurley and slitter. Or at least their time's equivalent. Of course, it could be that the Irish of the time, when they were writing that, went straight into the mouth, great accuracy. I guess the term "look after the points and the goals" will come from this story. I think that's just more of a general saying in Ireland in hurling, and it's true. It's true as well. We were always told whenever we were playing GA to take our points when we could. Take the points. That points win the game, and it's sort of true. Of course, you know, if you score like 5 or 6 goals, which I've seen happen, it's kind of hard to. Sorry for sidetracking the stream. Don't worry at all. If I was a little more like, what's the word? Not verbose, the opposite of verbose. I could have done that quicker, but you know, we don't come here for that. I often get sidetracked. It's fine. Anyway, how long have I been streaming? About 2 hours and 10 minutes. We'll go for another little bit. I might try and get to page 30. But now we move from Leinster, so we get another map. Whoa. Amazing. We get another map, and this time of Munster. Oh, wait, no, it's... Oh, I have to flip it. There we go. I'll put it here. I'll stretch it a little. There we go. And I'll move down to here, below the point. Perfect. Yay, Munster, home of the true capital. Exactly. Anyway. Munster. The province of Munster, later Mouvain, was of course very much larger than Leinster. Mouvain plus the Norse genitive s plus tir, i.e. the Irish for land, equals Munster. It was sometimes described, perhaps an artificial, I believe at this time it would have been called Mumu. Yeah, he says it, the province of Mumu. It was sometimes described, perhaps an artificial attempt to mimic the division of Ireland into 5/5 as having 5 parts: North, South, East, West, and Middle Munster. Two of the Mumu, Des Mumu, Ar Mumu, Ir Mumu, and Maidon Mumon, the first 3 of which left an imprint in the area's names: Thomond, Desmond, and Ormond. The major fault line in the province in the earlier period was between East and West. Although the eventual triumph of Brian's dynasty reflected a north-south divide, with Brian and his descendants, the O'Briens, ruling two of the Mumu, while the McCartys, the Mac Carthig, descendants of Cartuck, who flourished in 1050, the remnants of their vanquished predecessors retained Des Mumu. The latter was the most successful survivors from a sprawling federation of dynasties claiming descent from the legendary Owen Mar. Thus they were called the Owenocta. Similar to the descent of the Connaughta from the prehistoric Con. Their fabulous origin myth tells of Cashel, the Rock of Cashel. I've been there, it's a very cool place. Would very much recommend. Being discovered by Owen's descendant, Conal Cork, whose mother, it was said, was British and had spent a long exile among the Picts. It is possible that the origins of the Owenocta lay in the expulsion of Irish colonists from their settlements in Wales. Cashel is an early borrowing from the Latin castellum, which may have happened around the year 400 or so. The genealogists like to think of the Owenocta as having 7 branches, although in reality there were more, as while some withered away over the generations, others prospered and produced successful offshoots. In the earlier records, a branch that features prominently is Eganocta, or Owenocht Locha Lane, whose name indicates a presence in the environs of Loch Lane at Kilkenny, and who may have controlled the fertile lands northwards from there to the River Main. While ruling this as their core territories, they also claimed an overlordship of all Mumu, i.e. County Clare, Limerick, Kerry and West Cork, but had gone into decline by the beginning of the Viking Age. And the loosening of their bonds of overlordship was no doubt one of the factors that enabled Brian's dynasty of Dál Céis to begin to assert itself. When the latter did so, they found that it was another branch of the Owenocht that offered stiffest rearguard defiance, the branch taking its name from Rathlind, near Bandon, County Cork. Indeed, the man who in 976 killed Math Gamain, Brian's brother and predecessor as king of Dalkesh, was the reigning king of Onocht, Rathlind, male Muad Mac Brian, and the first major battle that Brian fought after his succession, the Battle of Bailach Leachta in 878, saw Brian wreak his revenge. Moo were the Irish cows there. Yes, moo is where the cows come from. That's why they go moo, because they remember where they come from. But the claim of Onocht Rathlind to the kingship of Munster during Brian's early years was a temporary interlude in the history of the sustained possession of the title by those branches of the dynasty based on the fertile plains of North Cork, East Limerick and Tipperary. The Onocht Glenmacnoch, ancestors of Uachem, the O'Keefes, have left a trace of their name in the village of Glanworth near Fermoy and held sway over the Blackwater Valley, producing a succession of kings of Munster, including one of its most illustrious, Cottal Mac Finguine, who died in 742, until decline set in the early 9th century. From that point onwards, various lineages of Onocht Cashel led the way, with a centre of gravity, as the name suggests, about Cashel, County Limerick. For some reason, though, the overkings of Munster drawn from the Onocht Cashel do not show the same tendency of the overkings elsewhere in Ireland to try to consolidate power in one line. For instance, if one were to trace the paternal ancestry of their two most remarkable kings of the Viking Age, Feidlimid mac Crimhain, who died in 847, and Cormac mac Cullinane, who died in 908, one would have to go back to the time of St. Patrick to find the common ancestor from whom both descend. This failure to concentrate power and therefore martial resources in one preeminent lineage ultimately undermined them. Besides, like all the great dynasties, the Onocht did not rule Munster after removing those who held land and power before them. Rather, as the Onocht expanded, they pushed others aside, taking their good lands and leaving the bad. But these peoples always had the potential to stage a recovery or pose a threat, or side with an enemy. For instance, the kings of Cashel might claim overlordship of the Osraig, whose land was coterminous with the diocese of Ossory, and who possessed a Bailach Gabrain, one of the few routes by which a land army could enter Munster. But Osraig pursued an independent strategy, tending, if anything, to align itself more with Leinster, over which some of its more assertive kings could harbour ambitions. Also, in the coastal valleys and the peninsulas of the southwest, there were other peoples who could be for potential allies or foes. The Leathon, east of Cork Harbour, who no doubt had significant naval capacity, served with Brian at Clontarf, as did the kings of Carrigaluachla in North Kerry, and Cork o Basind in County Clare. On the other hand, the Ui Fidgianti were an important dynasty who ruled much of the present-day County Limerick, who had poor relationships with Brian, and against whom he went to war soon after his ascension to power. We shall hear more about such peoples later. The more embellished accounts of the Battle of Clontarf also report that among those killed by Brian's side in the encounter was the king of the Deacy, a Munster dynasty with a remote link to Brian's. Their various branches occupied a diagonal swath running across Munster from Waterford, eventually to Clare. Having splintered the eastern segment called the Deacy Mumon, having splintered the eastern segment, called the Deacy Mumon, can be found occupying County Leinster, or County Waterford, and a small part of counties of South Tipperary. It was their leader who fought alongside Brian at Clontarf. The western segment, which acquired the name Deas Beck, or Little Daish, or Daish Beck, or Little Daish, is the one from which Brian descends. That too ruptured with the passage of time, producing what became the lineages of the Daish Daishkurt, the southern Daish, and the Daish Tuishkurt, or the northern Daish. And Brian was of the latter, so Brian was of the Tuishkurt, the Daish Tuishkurt. At some point, and certainly by the 8th century, they had breached the Shannon frontier and were in the process of acquiring their lands laying south of Slieve Aughty in East Clare. The brief notice in the Annals for 744 recording destruction of Ruadh by the Daish is solid evidence of Brian's dynasty, the Daish making effective war on the inhabitants of North Clare, the Ruadh. Brian's branch of the Daishi later adopted the dynastic name Dal Caish, literally the share of Cass. First recorded, or maybe it is Case. I like the name Caish though. First recorded in 934, shortly before Brian's birth, at a time when they were making rapid strides in Munster at the expense of the Aegon Oanachta. It seems that, in a deliberate attempt to disguise their parvenu status, a learned promoter of Brian's dynasty produced a false pedigree, concealing their humble origins among the Daishi vassals of the Oanachta. Instead, as the Oanachta were said to derive from the eponymous Owen Mair, the genealogists invented a brother of the latter called Cormac Cass, or Cass, and claimed Brian's people descended from him. Cormac Cass was made to have a descendant about 6 generations later, called Cass, or Cass, son of Conal Ul Eachlua, and this was the man from whom, it was claimed, Dal Caish took their name. So it probably is Cass. Dal Cass took their name. This neat sleight of hand gave Brian's dynasty a position of collateral equality with the Oanachta. It was needed only because Dal Caish were busy trying, as it were, to become the Oanachta, trying to take their place as the rightful kings of Cashel and Munster, and this is what propelled them onto the national stage. Ugh, my throat's a little tired after all that reading. I might do... I've been reading for almost a good bit. I've been talking for a good bit. We might raid out soon. I'll do another page though to get exactly 20 pages. Technically, there's a little like genealogy thing here. So I'll read Go Drown. Do I have water? I don't. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna get some water. Okay, I'm gonna get some water. Water my throat. See you in a sec. Go. Okay, hi, I'm back. I got myself some water. I grabbed a little cookie too. That feels better. I keep forgetting the snails are there. And what happens is if I leave and come back, I'm like, what the hell's on my screen? Hi back, I'm Hawu. Yeah, I'm gonna be back soon. No, I'm what? Fuck no, I didn't think about how to phrase that better. Um what I was gonna try and say is like, yeah, I'm back. What I was gonna say is I was gonna say something like I'm back hurting, carrying those triplets. I think is what I was trying to go for, but I fucked up by saying I'm back soon. Okay, it's Dunzo. It's so over. It's Dunzo. It's over. It's Jover. It's so Jover. Anyway, I look forward to seeing it, Haru. I'll finish off this little section here. Let me just sign it. Of course you want to sign it. It's your masterpiece these days. I need live reaction. Fine. I will finish reading this page, this section, and then I'll look at it. Live. Munster's aspirations. The kings of Munster indeed had national ambitions. When Cottal MacFinn Gwynna died of the Onocht Glendamnoch, assumed the over. When Cottal MacFinn Gwynna of the Onocht Glendamnoch assumed the overkingship of Munster, he did not try to restrict the Unail intrusion into Leith Moga. He took to war to the King of Tara when he and the King of Leinster invaded the East Meath kingdom of Brega in 721. The Munster Annals of Inishfallen claim that the King of Tara submitted to him, so that a later propaganda poem includes Cottal among the 5 Munster kings who ruled Ireland. In 733, he invaded Meath and came to the site of the King of Tara's Onoch at Tail Tiu, defeating the Unail at the symbolic hill of Tlachta. Sites chosen, no doubt, because of their political significance. There were extraordinary testimonies to the Munster ambition. Indeed, in 737. Oh, hello, Ray Wolf. Like the snails. No, don't talk about the snails. I still need to figure out how to set it up so that they're like a redeem and they can randomly appear. But for now, they've just kind of been placed on the trees and the rock. They're also just they're eating the map at this stage, so I gotta be quick, or else they'll eat through the map. They're also making it all slimy. I'm gonna have to touch it later. It's gonna be all slimy. These were extraordinary testimony to Munster ambition. Indeed, in 737, a Rig Dáil took place between Cottal and the new King of Tara, Aed Alon, at Terry Glass, County Tipperary, at which peace was declared between them, and the authority of Munster of the Church of Armagh was acknowledged. Oh, and the authority in Munster of the Church of Armagh was acknowledged. Clearly Cottal was a remarkable man. In addition to his contests with the kings of Tara, his career is notable for his attempts to assert supremacy throughout Leith Moga. Cottal was succeeded by his son or grandson Artri, about whom the annals record that in 793 he underwent an ordination into the kingship of Munster. Ordinatio Atriag Mac Cahal in Regnum Umen. This is the first time, so far as we know, that this has happened in Ireland, although Éadán Mac Gabriel had long ago been ordained by Colm Keel as King of Dal Riata, and is surely evidence of an attempt by their overkings to enhance their prestige. They gotta eat something, you know. I guess technically they don't, but they're spirits. They don't feel hunger. Maybe hunger for life, for living, but we know they ain't getting that back. Indeed, the next significant king of Munster, Fedel Mead Mac Crimhain, was actually a cleric and was described in his obit as a scribe and anchorite, suggesting a man of learning, but it did not dim his ambitions for his kingdom. He sought to dominate Leinster, and then, as the controller of Leath Moga, to compete with the King of Tara, taking part in a Riag Dáil with him in 827. In 831, Fidel Mead, with the Lagan, raided the southern Unail kingdom of Brega. In 838, he met the King of Tara, Niall Céile, in a Riag Dáil at Clontarf, inside Leath Cuan, the northern half. And the Munster record of the events claimed that Fidel Mead received the submission of Niall Céile. This record is, of course, biased in Fidel Mead's favour. If there were any truth of it, it would be an astonishing development. We know that Fidel Mead launched an offensive against Unail in 840, setting up camp at Tara, a pointed message to the Unail. The following year, he marched into Leinster, where he seemed to have intended to convene the Onuk Carmain, a privilege of the King of Leinster, again evidence of the exceptional Munster ambition, although in this instance the King of Tara caught up with him and gave him a bit of a bloody nose. Fidel Mead also saw the potential of Armagh's claim to primacy, intended to promote its interests to mutual advantage. Clearly he saw, as Brian was later to do, that one way of advancing one's own national profile was by associating himself with Armagh's national objectives. This explains the unusually positive obit of Fidel Mead recorded in the Annals of Ulster at his death in 847, which describes him as Optimus Scotorum, the best of the Irish. It was not an unworthy tribute, as Fidel Mead mac Crimhain, like Cathal mac Finguine a century earlier, had shown what Munster was capable of. Only one of his successors before Brian came close to offering a challenge to the Unail, and that was Cormac mac Cuilenain, also of the Owenuk Cashel, although remotely related, and also reputed to be in clerical orders and very learned. Having obtained the kingdom of Cashel in 902, he led Munster's resistance to Unail Devans. When the King of Tara, Flann Sinna, invaded Munster in 904 and 905, Cormac was forced to hand over hostages. But in 907, he defeated Flann at the Battle of Magdalena, near Tullamore, County Offaly, and the Munster Annals also claim that Cormac marched north at Christmasstride at the same year, and took hostages of the southern Unail and the Connaughta. There may well be an element of wishful thinking here, but Cormac's threat to Unail dominance was certainly real enough while it lasted. In 908, the Munster army was slaughtered by the Unail forces at the Battle of Ballamoon, near Laglin Bridge, County Carlow. And Munster's king, Cormac mac Cuilenain, lost his life in this very encounter. Although his death turned out to be a landmark in the decline of the Owenukta, as regards the power of Munster, Cormac's career had at least demonstrated that kings of the southern province could question Unail dominance. But the decline of the Owenukta paved the way for Brian's emergence, and Munster's challenge resumed. The next section would deal with the kingship, but I think I will leave it there for this stream. We go kingship, Viking conquest. We might even look to try to finish this, chapter. Yeah, we could definitely finish. You know what the fucked up thing? These two streams. Let me see what it calls it. This is the introduction. This is all just the introduction to Viking time Ireland. It's laying the stage for the rise of Brian Boru. Literally, I just got to the end of it and I turned the page. Brian Boru's world is part 1. It's all Brian Boru's world and we're just living it. Anyway. Wah. You guys got a nice little wah from me. That was quite enjoyable, though. That was a fun little stream. I got to do my reading. You guys got to see me be a little silly. Live reaction. I forgot. I almost forgot. Okay, fine. Oh god, what is this gonna look like? So, why is it in it? Why? Haru, why is it not safe for work? What is this? Oh no, I don't want to click on it. Oh god! The face does look very pretty. The face is gorgeous. The Hello Kitty thought. What is this, Haru? That's what you get for pissing me off? Canonically taking place before he got into fights. Leg scars getting covered by the thingy you forgot. That is... I don't know how to react to that, Haru. I don't know if I'm pregnant or just like I had a big bowl of soup. Maybe I just had a big bowl of soup. Maybe I'm not preggers. That is... I love that like the top half is beautiful. The hair's lovely. The face is... Oh, I'm sorry. I should probably... If you're not on the Discord, you can click that and you'll probably need... I don't know if you... Do I have the Annals of Safe... The safe... Not safe for work thing open to just anyone? I assume... No, my Discord is 18 plus anyway, so... Yeah, everyone there should be able to look at it, but... That is... I see now what you mean, Haru, by this was a peak in recent months. I know you were struggling drawing. Thank you for the head pat and the stretch, Mortis. You actually just caught us at the end of the stream, though. I apologize. We finished our reading, and the last thing we were doing was looking at the Mpreg drawing that Haru did of little old Ruadh. First peek in months, and it's a pregnant man. Clearly we see where your interests lie. I love the... Okay, I'm gonna say this. I love the Hello Kitty, but surely you could have made it a little bigger. The face is so good though. I'm gonna like take a screenshot of just like the face, like just like the collarbones up. And I'll pretend like that's what the photo is. Your tummy's so big it's covered in it. That's weird. Oh my god. I keep looking at it like the full thing. Like I kind of zoomed it in for a little bit just to look. But seeing it just like as a full image, oh my god. Okay. I hope. God. I do apologize. I do apologize for this bad timing. I hate doing that, and I hate when it happens to me when I join a stream and it's like, oh well, it's over. Sorry guys, but yeah, I'm gonna read out because my voice is getting a little tired. Sustained reading. You cooked that in an hour. Very impressive. Very impressive. What was I about to say? Thank you for stream, Unk. I'm not Unk, but thank you for joining, Haru. Let's go following. Let's see who is live. That is a... Slay the Spire. Anyone doing ASMR that I can raid into? Isn't her streams usually quite comfy? Oh, who's a good person to raid into? This hasn't really been much. ASMR, has it? It's been more reading and loud talking. Hope you dream of pregnant you. I'd really rather not. You know who we'll raid into? Wait, actually, did I raid into him recently? I feel like I did, but maybe I'm... Yeah, I did raid into them recently. Why is there a half-naked man on stream? That's weird. The tattoo on him looks very similar to another model I know. But yeah, I'm going to... God, I can't figure out who I'm going to raid into. What the fuck? Uwo is playing Minecraft. 67 likes, 301 views. Why is Uwo playing Minecraft? That looks weird seeing him play a game. Uwo's lab. I'm so used to him doing crazy things that just seeing him like playing a game is very strange. You know what? We're gonna raid into Hawu Mizuki, especially because I need to ask him for help with something. He's doing his chatting portion of the stream. It's probably over soon because he usually does an hour or two, but then he streams for like 5 hours. But we'll raid into him. We'll raid into Mr. Haru Mizuki. He's a very, very cool heckhound. You guys should definitely follow him and check him out. And he's very cute. But yeah, I will talk to you guys next stream. Gareb Mila Mahagat and Slán Gafol. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Irish history. Even if half of it is just names that just go over your heads. Anyway, bye bye. Bye bye. Have a nice week. Have a nice weekend. I'll probably stream Sunday. Yeah, probably Sunday. Anyway, bye bye. You're relaxing? You're welcome. Take care. Bye, guys.